Chosen one, listen closely. You have walked through seasons where it felt like the very ground beneath you was swallowing you whole. There were moments when you wondered if the darkness would ever lift, if the silence meant that heaven had forgotten your name. But hear this clearly, what they meant for your burial was God's setup for your blooming. You were never buried to die. You were planted to rise. There were people who spoke against you, who misunderstood your purity, who twisted your intentions because your light exposed what they wanted hidden. They thought if they buried you deep enough under gossip, rejection, or betrayal, you'd disappear. But they didn't realize seeds only come alive in the dark. They didn't know that the same soil meant to suffocate you would become the womb of your resurrection. Every tear that fell from your eyes watered the very ground of your destiny. Every lonely night, every closed door, every silent battle you fought in secret, all of it was preparing the roots of something powerful. You may have been overlooked by man, but you were never hidden from God. The same God who watched you break is now watching you bloom. This is not just a poetic phrase, it's a divine decree. The season where you were pushed aside is the same season heaven began to push you forward. The same ones who dismissed you will have to witness your rise, not because you sought revenge, but because God is revealing His glory through you. You've been buried under disappointment, but you're about to rise in divine appointment. You've been buried under delay, but you're about to burst forth in divine timing. And when you bloom, it won't be quiet. It will be radiant, undeniable, and unstoppable. God says, I hid you so I could heal you. I buried you so I could build you. And now I am about to unveil you. So lift your head, chosen one. The same ground that tried to keep you down will soon testify of your roots of faith. The same darkness that once surrounded you will become the backdrop of your light. The time of isolation was not a curse, it was a divine incubation. You are about to bloom in places that once rejected you. And when you do, everyone will know only God could make beauty rise from that kind of burial. And it was in that quiet darkness, the place where no one saw your tears, where no applause echoed, where silence became your only companion, that heaven began to speak your name with new authority. What looked like your ending was actually the secret meeting place between you and God. In that hidden soil, His hand was upon you, shaping you in ways no spotlight could ever reveal. There were moments when you mistook His silence for absence. But in truth, He was nearer than ever. The potter doesn't shout while he molds the clay. He works quietly with intention. Every crushing moment was a press of His hand, not to destroy you, but to refine your form. Every delay was not denial. It was divine precision. The seed cannot see the sun, but it still trusts the process beneath the soil. Heaven saw your obedience when no one clapped. Heaven saw your forgiveness when others kept wounding you. Heaven saw your restraint when you could have fought back but chose to keep your peace. You didn't realize it, but the very moments that broke you open were making room for divine glory to take root. This message isn't arriving late, it's arriving right on time. For the Lord has been watching the timeline of your becoming, and He says, now. Now the hidden work will start to show. Now the roots will push through to the surface. Now what was once underground will begin to testify above ground. There is a sacred rhythm to God's timing. And though the world often rushes, heaven never hurries. When He plants, He also prepares. You've been in preparation for longer than you know, not because you were forgotten, but because what He's building in you requires depth before display. The divine message being released over your life in this moment is not casual. It is a confirmation that heaven has kept the record of your tears, your faith, and your endurance. The one who counts every sparrow has counted every sleepless night. And now He's sending this word as a divine announcement. The planting season has fulfilled its purpose. The blooming season has begun. So when you feel that inner stirring, that sudden sense of expectancy, that quiet knowing that something unseen is shifting, don't dismiss it. That's not coincidence. That's your spirit responding to heaven's decree. You are standing at the threshold between hidden growth and holy reveal. This message comes not from human understanding, but from the very breath of God, moving through time, reaching your present moment to remind you that everything is unfolding as written. The delay was divine. The pruning was protection. The burial was the beginning. Now the soil trembles with resurrection power. Roots that have endured storms are ready to bloom. And as this prophetic word continues, understand this truth deeply. What you are about to experience is not random favor. It's ordained fulfillment. The one who watched you in the dark is about to reveal you in the light. Something holy is happening beneath the surface. Heaven has been whispering over your life, and now what was once a whisper is turning into a trumpet sound. The divine decree has gone forth, and nothing, not even the weight of the past, can stop it now. For the Lord says, "They tried to bury you under false words, but I covered you with grace. They tried to bury you in delay, but I hid you in divine timing. They tried to bury you in shame, but I clothed you in glory. Now I am commanding the seed within you to rise. You are stepping into the moment creation has been waiting for, the unveiling of what was planted in pain, but destined for glory. Every buried seed carries a prophecy inside it, and yours has been maturing in silence. The darkness was never a grave. It was a greenhouse. Every unseen moment was nurturing the life that is about to emerge. The Spirit of God is saying, "This is the hour of blooming." The things that once broke you will now bless you. The ones who tried to limit you will witness your expansion. The tables are turning, the soil is shifting, and I am bringing forth what was hidden beneath the surface. And when it begins, it won't be gradual, it will be sudden. The same way a flower breaks through the soil after a long winter, your breakthrough will burst forth in divine acceleration. You've endured the cold, the silence, the pressure. But now, heaven declares, enough waiting. It's time. You will notice how doors that were once closed begin to open without force. You will see connections appear where there was once isolation. You will feel strength return to the very places that once felt numb. God is not restoring you to what you had. He's expanding you into what you were always meant to become. And make no mistake, this blooming isn't about recognition, it's about revelation. God is revealing His faithfulness through your story. He's showing that His word cannot return void. When people see your life, they will say, "Surely the hand of the Lord was upon them." Every delay had design. Every setback carried strategy. Every loss held a hidden lesson that now becomes a key for your next level. You didn't just survive the burial. You absorbed the nutrients of every experience, and now your roots are deep enough to sustain the weight of blessing. When the light breaks through and the first petals of your new season begin to unfold, don't be surprised if it feels overwhelming. After all, you've spent years in preparation for a moment that's about to manifest. The dreams that seem to fade, the promises that seem to vanish, they are reawakening now, under heaven's command. The bloom that's coming is not fragile, it's fortified. It's not temporary, it's tested. The Lord says, you will not rise in the same soil you were buried in. You will be transplanted into the field of favor, into environments that match your calling. And as this prophecy unfolds, understand this. God is not giving you what you lost, He's giving you more than you imagined. The ones who doubted your destiny will have to admit that the hand of God was working all along. Those who buried you will see you become the garden they never expected to grow. So don't rush this moment. Let the bloom happen in divine rhythm. Let each petal unfold in perfect time. What's coming isn't just breakthrough, it's birthing. You are the living proof that resurrection power, still moves through ordinary people. You are the evidence that no burial can silence what heaven has blessed. And soon, the world will look and see the beauty that grew from your brokenness, the radiance that rose from your rejection, the abundance that bloomed from your ashes. Because the prophecy has already been spoken, and heaven never speaks in vain. If you look closer, you'll realize something extraordinary. Every stage of your journey has mirrored the life of a seed. Before anything flourishes, it must first fall. Before it blooms, it must break. Before it rises, it must be buried. God designed the process of growth to look like loss. The moment a seed disappears into the soil, it looks like death, but in reality, that is the beginning of transformation. You too have walked through seasons that looked like endings, when in truth, they were divine beginnings disguised as heartbreak. There's a sacred mystery in the way heaven operates the paradox of purpose. To be raised high, you must first go low. To carry light, you must first walk through shadow. To be trusted with influence, you must first learn surrender. That's why it seemed as though everything you touched fell apart. It wasn't punishment, it was pruning. Every door that closed was heaven removing distraction. Every person who left was God protecting your purity. The soil that covered you wasn't rejection, it was insulation. It kept you safe from premature exposure. The spiritual meaning of this season is that your burial birthed your becoming. What looked like a loss of identity was actually the formation of one. You were never forgotten, you were being fortified. God was not ignoring you. He was insulating you from what would have destroyed you too soon. Think about this: when a seed breaks open underground, no one claps for it. No one sees the quiet expansion happening beneath the dirt. But heaven does. And that's exactly what God was doing in your hidden season, expanding you in silence. He was growing your endurance, stretching your faith, deepening your roots. Because when your roots are deep, you can survive any storm. And that's the difference between those who were planted and those who were merely placed. Those who are placed can be moved, but those who are planted cannot be uprooted. You were not placed by circumstance, you were planted by divine hands. You are rooted in purpose, anchored in destiny, and sealed by divine decree. Every dark night taught you something light could not. You learned to trust without evidence. You learned to pray without applause. You learned to keep walking when no one else believed you'd make it. And those lessons are the sacred nutrients of the soil, invisible to the eye, but vital to the bloom. The soil represents secrecy. The rain represents refining. The sunlight represents revelation. And you standing between them all represent divine resilience. That's why your story carries such power, because it's not theoretical, it's experiential. You've lived what others only preach. You've felt what others only imagine. The deeper meaning behind your journey is that God uses contradiction as his language. He hides glory in grief. He hides destiny in delay. He hides promise in pain. That's how he ensures that only the humble, only the faithful, only the chosen recognize his hand. The burial was heaven's camouflage. And now what he planted in you is beginning to rise, not just to bless you, but to bear fruit that will feed others. Because a true bloom doesn't exist for itself. It exists to spread beauty, to carry fragrance, to remind others that life comes after loss. Your bloom is not vanity, it's victory. It's a sermon without words, a testimony without a pulpit. Every petal represents a season you endured. Every color reflects a lesson you learned. Every fragrance carries the scent of divine grace. So when people look at you and ask how you're still standing, how you're still smiling after all the storms, tell them, because I was planted, not buried. Tell them, because God turned my pain into power. Tell them, because the same dirt that tried to hide me became the ground that raised me. There is holy depth in your story. Heaven did not invest all that pain for nothing. You carry within you the blueprint of endurance, the living echo of resurrection. You are not just a testimony. You are a prophecy fulfilled. And the beauty of it all is this: you didn't need validation to bloom. You didn't need a crowd to rise. You bloomed quietly, faithfully, gracefully, under the watchful eyes of the Creator. You became living proof that even when life buries you in silence, God will make you bloom in sound. Even when others cast dirt on your name, heaven will use that dirt to grow your crown. Your journey has been sacred. Your pain was prophetic. And your bloom is the evidence that divine timing never fails. There will be signs. Subtle at first, almost like whispers brushing against your spirit, but unmistakable once you recognize them. The same way the earth knows when spring is near your spirit will begin to sense that something is shifting, something new is about to break forth. The first sign will be restoration of peace. After long nights of inner warfare, you'll notice a quiet stillness returning to your heart. You may not have all the answers, but you'll feel a divine calm that surpasses understanding. The noise around you won't disturb you like it used to. That's the sign that heaven has settled the battle. The soil has stabilized. What's been stirring beneath the surface is ready to rise. The second sign will be divine reversals. Circumstances that once resisted you will start aligning effortlessly. Delays will suddenly turn into deliverance. Doors that were locked tight will open with ease. People who once ignored you may reach out unexpectedly. It will feel surreal, but it's not coincidence, it's confirmation that God's hand is rearranging things on your behalf. The third sign will be a renewed sense of clarity. What once felt confusing will suddenly make sense. You'll see how every season had purpose, how every no was protection, how every heartbreak became holy preparation. The puzzle pieces will start fitting together, and you'll realize nothing was wasted. Every buried moment held meaning. The fourth sign will be a divine pull toward purpose. You'll feel an inner prompting to create, to build, to move forward. Things that once felt heavy will now feel light. Fear will start losing its grip. You'll wake up with new ideas, renewed energy, and a fire that feels supernatural. That's not random motivation, that's the Spirit breathing life into dormant dreams. The fifth sign will be unusual favor. Opportunities will appear without effort. Provision will meet you before you even ask. You'll find yourself at the right place, at the right time, speaking to the right people. God will orchestrate divine alignments, not because you chase them, but because your roots are ready. You no longer need to strive. The bloom draws what it needs naturally. And the sixth sign, perhaps the most sacred, will be the confirmation in your spirit. You'll sense it during prayer, in music, in scripture, or even in quiet moments alone. The words, "It's time," will echo in your soul, and it will feel like heaven is nodding in agreement. That's how you'll know this message is yours. It won't just touch your ears, it will awaken your spirit. When these signs begin to appear, don't doubt them. Don't explain them away as luck or coincidence. Recognize them as heaven's fingerprints on your timeline. Each sign is God's gentle reminder that the season has changed, that the soil has done its work, and the bloom is inevitable. These signs aren't just happening around you, they're happening within you. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead is resurrecting dormant dreams inside your heart. And once these signs start aligning, the next phase of your journey begins the testing of your bloom. The hidden challenges that prepare you to carry what's coming. Just before the bloom, the soil trembles. The same earth that once held you begins to shift, and the pressure changes. This is where many grow weary right before the manifestation. Because every divine blooming comes with a final test. A refining fire meant not to destroy you, but to strengthen what's about to emerge. You may start to feel an odd tension, blessings beginning to appear, yet battles rising at the same time. That's not contradiction, it's confirmation. The closer you move toward fulfillment, the more the unseen realm resists your transition. It's not punishment, it's proof that you're crossing into promise. One of the first hidden challenges you'll face is the temptation to return to comfort. The familiar will call your name. Old patterns, old people, old fears will try to lure you back into what once felt safe. But remember, the seed cannot crawl back into the shell once it's broken. You've outgrown that soil. God didn't bring you this far for you to shrink back. The second challenge will be the silence of heaven. Just when you expect God to speak the loudest, it may seem, He goes quiet again. But this silence isn't absence. It's graduation. He's trusting you to apply what you've already learned. The teacher is always quiet during the test. This silence is sacred. It's where faith becomes fruit. Then comes the pruning of new growth. You'll notice certain things, people, or habits begin to fall away naturally. Not because you failed, but because they can't grow with you. The pruning can feel like loss, but in truth it's expansion. God is trimming what's unnecessary to make room for what's divine. You may also face misunderstanding. As you start blooming, not everyone will celebrate it. Some will question your growth because they can't comprehend the process that birthed it. Don't let their confusion disturb your peace. Remember, flowers don't argue with weeds, they just keep blooming. Another challenge will be spiritual fatigue. After long seasons of battle, even good change can feel heavy. You might feel both excited and exhausted at once. When that happens, rest in grace. You don't have to force what God has already finished. Let peace become your rhythm. And finally, there will be the test of patience. Even blooming has stages. Some petals open before others. You may see progress but still feel incomplete. Don't rush the unfolding. Every layer of your purpose opens at the pace of divine perfection. These hidden challenges aren't signs of failure. They're indicators of destiny. They're heaven's way of ensuring that when you rise, you'll stay rooted. You've endured too much to collapse under the weight of your own blessing. So don't fear the pressure. Pressure produces fragrance. Don't resist the pruning. Pruning produces power. And don't despise the silence. It's the sound of heaven trusting you with maturity. The same God who planted you is guiding you through every challenge. You will not be lost in the process. You will not be broken by what was meant to build you. This soil, even the painful parts, is sacred. It's shaping you for what's next. And what comes next is instruction from heaven itself. The divine steps that unlock the fullness of what's been promised. Now that the soil has broken and the first signs of bloom are appearing, heaven releases divine instruction not to overwhelm you, but to align you. Because blooming is not passive. It's a sacred partnership between divine timing and human obedience. The promise was planted by God, but the posture belongs to you. First, you must stay rooted in gratitude. Gratitude is the water that keeps your bloom alive. When blessings begin to unfold, never forget the soil that raised you. Remember the nights that shaped your faith. Remember the tears that built your trust. Every time you give thanks, you keep your spirit soft, and soft soil receives rain. Don't let success harden your heart. Stay humble, stay thankful, stay teachable. Second, guard your atmosphere. Not everyone who applauds you carries clean intentions. As your light grows brighter, it will attract both pollinators and parasites. Be discerning. Protect your peace. You've spent too long healing to let chaos back in disguised as connection. God says, do not open your garden to every passerby. This season is sacred. Not everyone deserves access to your atmosphere. Third, keep your ears tuned to heaven's frequency. As you rise, distractions will multiply. Opportunities may come dressed as blessings, but not every open door leads to destiny. Learn to pause before you proceed. Don't rush decisions. The Spirit will confirm through peace, not pressure. If something feels forced, it's not from Him. Your assignment will never require you to compromise your authenticity. Fourth, speak life continuously. Your words are seeds. What you declare now will determine your next harvest. Stop rehearsing the pain. Start prophesying the promise. Don't talk about who left, speak about who's coming. Don't dwell on what broke, declare what's being built. Heaven partners with your declarations. Every time you speak faith, you give God permission to move. Fifth, tend to your inner garden. Just because you're blooming on the outside doesn't mean you can neglect your roots. Keep feeding your spirit through prayer, worship, and reflection. The same intimacy that sustained you in the dark must remain your foundation in the light. God didn't bring you out just to lose you to distractions. Stay near the source. Sixth, extend grace generously. There will be those who didn't believe in you, who wounded you during your hidden season. Don't carry bitterness into your blessing. Forgive quickly. Release often. Grace is the fragrance of those who have truly bloomed. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your growth speaks for itself. Seventh, walk in quiet confidence. You don't need to announce everything God is doing. Some blooms are meant to be seen, not spoken of. Move with wisdom, not pride. Remember, divine timing will reveal what you don't have to explain. Let the fruit testify. Let the fragrance draw others to His glory. Eighth, align your actions with your anointing. Start doing the things you've been afraid to do. Step into the projects, ideas, or callings you once postponed. The delay has ended. The divine green light is glowing over your path. You don't need to see the whole road, just take the next faithful step. Each act of obedience is another petal unfolding. And finally, ninth, expect multiplication. God never blooms something for beauty alone. He blooms it for abundance. The blessing that's coming isn't just for you, it's meant to overflow into others. Your story will heal people. Your breakthrough will break chains. Your rise will remind others that God still restores. So move forward with holy confidence, but also holy caution. Don't let impatience steal what perseverance birthed. Every instruction heaven gives is for your protection. These are not random steps, they are divine coordinates guiding you toward fullness. The Lord is saying, you have been faithful with the seed. You have endured the soil. Now walk boldly into the bloom. But remember, stay watered in worship, rooted in prayer, and shielded by discernment. This is not a season to shrink. It's a season to steward. The same hands that buried you are now blessing you, and God is trusting you to carry this glory with grace. Follow these divine instructions carefully, and what happens next will not only bless your life, it will change generations after you. You are not blooming alone. Every petal of your purpose is being guarded by unseen hands. Even when you can't feel it, heaven has stationed protection around you. Angels have been assigned to your path not because you're fragile, but because you're valuable. There were moments when danger brushed too close, when the weight of life nearly crushed you, but something always intervened. That wasn't coincidence. That was covenant. God's promise over your life acts like a shield surrounding you, even in silence. The same hand that buried you now builds a hedge around you. The same presence that walked with you through the valley now surrounds you on the mountain. God didn't bring you this far to leave you unguarded. You are covered not by chance, but by choice. In this season, as your light grows brighter, you may sense opposition rising too. That's normal. The enemy always notices when something divine begins to flourish. But fear not, protection has already been provided. Before the attack even formed, heaven had already declared your preservation. When anxiety tries to whisper that you're exposed, remember the bloom may be visible, but the roots are still hidden in divine security. You are surrounded by the presence of the Almighty. His Spirit is your covering, His word, your shield, His peace, your armor. Sometimes protection doesn't look like avoidance. It looks like endurance. God didn't remove you from every storm. He equipped you to withstand them. And now the same storms that once threatened you have watered your growth. You have survived what others didn't think you could, because grace was your guard. Hear this clearly. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. The weapons may form, but they won't function. The traps may be set, but they'll fail. The lies may circulate, but truth will rise above them. God is not just your protector, He's your vindicator. He will make sure that what was meant to harm you becomes the soil that honors you. Every day remind yourself, I am covered. Covered in grace. Covered in favor. Covered in divine promise. You don't need to live in fear of losing what God gave. What heaven planted, hell cannot uproot. And in moments when you feel weary or exposed, simply pause. Breathe. Whisper, God, surround me again. Instantly, peace will rise like a soft wind, reminding you that you've never walked a step alone. You are the seed that made it through the burial. You are the flower blooming in a battlefield, and yet not a single petal will fall without heaven's permission. So rest in that assurance. Rest in knowing that you are not unprotected, not forgotten, not alone. You are wrapped in the same love that called you, kept you, and crowned you. Your bloom is safe. Your path is protected, and your destiny sealed in light. And now, the bloom. After all the darkness, all the waiting, all the silent nights and unseen prayers, the moment of transformation arrives quietly but unmistakably. You'll feel it before you see it. That inner shift, that sense of release, that's heaven whispering, it is time. What once felt like a wound now shines as wisdom. What once was pain now pulses with purpose. The very things that tried to break you have become the architecture of your strength. You are not the same person who entered the storm. You are stronger, softer, wiser, a reflection of divine resilience. This is the season where the invisible becomes visible. The faith you carried in secret is now manifesting in sight. Doors are opening not because of luck, but because of alignment. Blessings are flowing not as repayment, but as recognition of your endurance. Every prayer that seemed unanswered was simply maturing underground. Now the flower has broken through. The fragrance of your faith is rising, and heaven is smiling because you've become what you were always meant to be, a living testimony of divine timing. Transformation doesn't erase your scars. It redeems them. The cracks in your story let the light pour through. People will look at you and see beauty, but you will know that beauty was birthed through brokenness. That radiance was refined in fire. That peace was purchased with persistence. You will feel a peace that doesn't make sense, a joy that flows without explanation, and a clarity that makes everything you endured worthwhile. Where once there was confusion, now there is conviction. Where once there was sorrow, now there is song. The Lord is saying, this is not just restoration, it is multiplication. You lost one thing, but I am returning it sevenfold. You sowed tears, but you will reap in laughter. You carried heaviness, but you will dance in freedom. Your transformation is not small, it's supernatural. It will touch more than your circumstances. It will transform your atmosphere. People around you will begin to sense something radiant when you enter the room. That's not pride, that's presence. The light of divine fulfillment travels with you now. And as you walk into this new season, you'll begin to understand why the burial was necessary. Without the darkness, you would never have known the depth of light. Without the isolation, you would not have learned intimacy with God. Without the breaking, you would not have discovered the strength within you. The bloom was not meant to prove your worth. It was meant to reveal His glory. You are the evidence that God can bring life out of lifeless places, beauty from ashes, joy from mourning. And the world needs to see that. The world needs to see that it's possible to rise again. You are not just walking in fulfillment, you are carrying a prophetic fragrance that awakens hope in others. When they see you shine, they will remember that God still restores. So walk boldly now. This is your emergence. This is your unveiling. The hidden seed has become a field of glory. The one who is buried has become a garden of divine proof. You have not just survived, you have transformed. And soon you will look back and realize it was all worth it. Every tear, every battle, every delay, each one was preparing you for this sacred bloom. You have entered the season of fulfilled promise, and heaven rejoices over your becoming. Take a deep breath. Feel the stillness around you. That's not emptiness, it's peace. The journey has been long, but the bloom is here. You've come through the soil, the silence, the storm, and you're standing now in the sunlight of divine fulfillment. This is your moment to rest, not because the story is over, but because you've entered into rhythm with God's timing. You no longer have to chase what's already yours. You no longer have to prove what heaven has already approved. You are enough. You are chosen. You are blooming. Before this message closes, speak these words aloud, 3 affirmations that seal this season within your spirit. Affirmation 1. I was never buried to die. I was planted to rise. Let these words take root in your heart. Every time you face resistance, remind yourself growth often feels like pressure. But pressure means you're expanding. Affirmation 2. I am covered, called, and chosen for divine purpose. You are not here by coincidence. You are the living proof that destiny cannot be destroyed, only delayed until its divine time. Affirmation 3. My bloom will bless others. Your transformation is not selfish, it's sacred. Someone else's hope will be restored because of your testimony. Someone else's faith will be rekindled because of your rise. Now close your eyes and let these words wash over you like light through a morning sky. Heavenly Father, over every listener under the sound of this message, I release a blessing of divine restoration. May every buried dream come alive again. May every wounded place bloom in beauty. May every delay transform into divine alignment. Surround them with peace that cannot be shaken. Let angels go before them, behind them, and beside them. Let their hands prosper, their hearts stay pure, and their faith remain unshakable. May their nights be filled with revelation and their mornings with gratitude. Let no weapon formed against them prosper. Let every tongue that rises in judgment fall silent. Let favor flow like living water through their days. Lord, make their life a garden of grace, where others can see your hand, feel your love, and witness your faithfulness. It is done. It is finished. It is fulfilled. You are no longer hidden beneath the soil. You are standing in full bloom, radiant, rooted, and ready for everything heaven has written. Walk in peace, beloved. Walk in joy. Walk in purpose. Because what they tried to bury, God has made bloom.